My goodness. Hello. And oh my God, I can't believe we're doing this. We got this. Hello and welcome to episode 0 of Your Next Step podcast. I am so thrilled, happy, glad that we're all here. It's been a journey getting here. I'm so glad that we're actually making this happen. I'm recording this for those watching at sunset time because sunset time is one of my favorite times in the whole entire day. It just reminds me to take a pause and reflect and to remind myself of all the good and challenging things that have happened throughout the day. So I'm so glad I'm recording this episode at that time, and I sense the energy to talk about it with you. So the aim of today's episode is I talk to you a little bit about the episodes and what to expect and lay the foundation for you. And overall, for you to get to know about me and why I started this in the first place. Our episodes will be released every fortnight at the beginning, and we are bringing on entrepreneurs, founders, change makers, people that have taken big risks in their lives and giving them a platform to share their journey with us, because personally, I find it really fascinating how people that think outside the box and want to make an impact to their community around them and to the world, understanding their challenges and how they got to where they are today. Because I truly believe that everyone's story is so unique. No one's lived the same life. We all can learn from one another's experiences. And for us that are listening and hearing these stories, to get inspired, and if you're thinking of doing something, to hear their journeys, and maybe it could be you that's starting something soon. I really want this to be a place where our guests share their stories of their mindset, their resilience, and obviously we want to understand the authenticity, because I feel that when people start something and go through the journey, there's so many layers that people unlock and discover and process. It's never a linear journey. Often people start something and then they realize that they're on a completely different path, but they're constantly taking their next step because they have this bigger why that they're going towards. We also see the highlights of their journey. We see the end result. We see all the great times that have come out of it, but we never see the moments of people going through their doubts, processing their challenges, overcoming self-doubt. And I think it's really important for us to hear those raw stories, because in life, nothing's ever perfect. It's those imperfections that shape us to who we are and make it so unique to us. We've recorded a few episodes, which I cannot wait for you guys to hear about. And I would absolutely love to hear your feedback as we're releasing episodes. If there's any specific guests that you think that you want to hear more about, reach out to my team and let's grow this together. I ultimately want to build a community where we're all inspired to do the things that are truly unique to us. I know each one of us has something that they always desire to do. If we're really in tune with ourselves, we're able to do it. So I can't wait to build this with you guys. And this is our podcast, not just mine. This is for us to learn, to be inspired and do the things that we always have wanted to do. So I can't wait to bring you along this journey. But a little bit about me. I was born in Iran. I was born in a city called Shiraz. Fun fact, it's where the Shiraz wine was originated from. The things I remember from 0 to 4 years is actually living in my grandparents' home, because at the time my dad lived in a different city because of his work, and my mum, myself and my sister, we lived with my grandma. I remember those early moments just being surrounded by love and really cute memories, I guess. And then later on, when I was 4 years old, my parents got this opportunity to move to Australia for them to study their PhDs, and we moved to Brisbane. So we lived in Brisbane from 2002 to 2008. I went to preschool and primary school here. Reflecting back on that moment, it was such an interesting period of my life. moving to a country where you don't understand what people's language is. I remember the first few months, I had no idea. I was so confused why we're here. I was so confused why my grandparents weren't here and my family. And adapting was a bit challenging. I remember my first few months, my parents would come to preschool with me because I was so scared of going. And I remember just one day, my parents would talk to me that it's about time that we don't come with you and you need to do this by yourself. I remember I'd always cry and whinge and be like, no, I can't do this without you, until one day my dad dropped me off and left. From that, it was fine, I guess. And I learned how to speak and I made friends after that, and I wasn't afraid of it. And some friends that I went to preschool with are still friends. It was an interesting time because, yes, one was the language barrier, but two, I felt really different in terms of how I looked from the other students. We'd take food to school that was a bit different from other kids' snacks. Also, I tried so much to fit in because I wasn't really sure who I was and really following the crowd. I think towards the end of year 6 and end of 2008, before we moved, I got bullied as well because of certain things. But I remember the last few months, I was so excited to move back to Iran. I remember I would ask my parents every single day, when are we moving back? Because as we lived in Brisbane, we visited Iran. I just remember being surrounded by so much love and being in that safe environment where I was just happy. I was trying to escape as a young kid from being different in an environment where I felt no one got me. Mind you, I've had really, really good days. I would always play sports. I have really good friends from back then, but it was something that I was going through. I was always surrounded by love with my parents, always were making sure that my sister and I were doing activities. They'd always take care of us in the best way possible. We'd always have fun, the four of us together. And there were so many good core memories, but I really struggled at school. But the day came. It was the day that we moved back to Iran. And I remember the exact date because it was after the 8th of the 8th, 2008 Olympics in Tokyo. Our flight was on the 9th of the 8th. And for those asking why did we move back, is my parents finished their PhDs and they had a commitment to move back to Iran and serve our country. So moved back, was there from 2008 to 2018. Wow. Moving back and actually living there and not visiting was a complete different experience. The first few months, great. Surrounded by family again, lots of love, seeing different people and having fun. And then I remember after a few months, school started and it was such a shock. Me thinking that I'm escaping school from Australia and going to school in Iran was going to be, the same happy days, but it was the complete opposite. I literally felt lost and I felt I didn't fit in because I wasn't really fluent in Farsi, which is what Iranians speak, but it was just challenging. And back there, the culture is very, you need to study and the extracurricular stuff is not as valued. I'm not that old, but back then it was still that culture. I know nowadays there's lots of kids who get to experience doing lots of extracurricular and that is valued. But I remember for someone going to school in Australia and going to tennis, going swimming, doing music classes, to all of a sudden my whole life was focusing on studying and really forgetting about extracurricular stuff. I went to a normal school, and the reason why I'm saying normal school is because after a few months, I changed to an international school because my parents realized that there's a school where other people who've lived in other countries and they're not fluent to Farsi. The school is a little bit more laid back and they help you study Farsi. It's much slow paced. When I went to that normal school for a bit, I really felt I am so different in a way that, one, I don't understand the language as much because there were words that I've never heard in my life. But two, the vibe of the kids that were there was so different to my vibe and what I was used to. So that was a challenge itself until I got transferred to an international school in Tehran. And that felt really great because all of the other students were in a similar boat to me. They were trying to understand Farsi and learn Farsi. And I really, really enjoyed it. I remember then I was asking my parents, hey, are we moving back to Australia? Because I am not enjoying my life here. I don't like school. I really miss doing all these extracurricular stuff, and my life completely changed to a way that I was literally asking, can we just go back and I'll figure it out? So in that time, my parents were trying hard to hopefully get a citizenship of either Australia or Canada. It just didn't work out. In that time that we were in Iran, unfortunately, I came across something which later on in further episodes I'll dive into a bit further. I wasn't able to go to school for a year, and that experience changed my whole entire life. And sorry, I might get emotional a little bit. That experience changed me in ways that I really appreciate every single day I get to wake up. Even challenging times and having that perspective and going through what I went through, I really appreciate everything in life and being alive and getting to experience and wake up and work towards my dreams. I am extremely grateful. From there, I accepted the fact that I may never ever go back to Australia or move to another country, but I'm going to make the most out of it. To be honest, my whole perspective changed. And then as I was going through high school and my last year of high school, I remember my parents and I made this decision that I'm no longer staying at the international school and for me to move to a normal school, as I say, given that it was my last year of high school. And in Iran, there's a system where you do this 4-hour exam at the end of your year 12. Then from that test, you get your grades, and based on how well you've done, you select universities and it gets shortlisted based on your grade. I remember the summer before entering year 12, I came home and my parents were like, oh my God, we've got really good news. I was literally expecting everything besides my parents saying that, oh, a permanent residency for Australia, like we've gotten it and we're moving. And I was like, what? Where did this come from? I remember it was one of the happiest days of my life. I was really enjoying my life in Iran, but the fact that we got to have another opportunity to come and move to a country with opportunities and a better lifestyle, I was so for it. So that was 2015. And I remember we came to Australia, did our landing, and then we moved back to pack up our lives. And for me to finish year 12, for my sister to finish high school as well. And I went to 1 year of uni there, which was a whole different experience. And we moved to Australia. Looking back at all of it, I would not change a single bit of my journey and my life and all those experiences I went through. I am so grateful I have lived now half my life in Australia, half my life in Iran, and it's allowed me to be connected with my culture and who I am and where I come from. But also I'm so grateful to live in this beautiful country, Australia, and have these amazing opportunities, connect with people and live my life here. Yes, of course, there are challenges all the time, but it's just given me so much perspective that makes me the way I am. But moving on, I went to university and studied civil engineering. From there, I graduated and am now working as a civil engineer. But since 2 years ago, there's been something within me that I've wanted to start this community of like-minded individuals, bring them together and for everyone to share their stories and journeys. I know there's something much bigger to life. I absolutely love connecting with people. And that's why I started this podcast. As we go and develop this, I can't wait to share more stories about me with you, but also shed some spotlight on these wonderful people that have gone out of their way to start things and make positive impact to people around us and really understand their why. I cannot wait to grow this with you and make a positive impact to our community and bring you all along this journey. I can't wait to release episode 1 in 2 weeks' time. Also, please make sure to subscribe on our YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and also follow our pages on Instagram and TikTok. So thank you for tuning in to episode 0, and till the next episode.